Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about different methods of microbial measurement or bacterial growth summary. That means whatever we have learned in the part 1, part 2, part 3 and part 4, we are going to summarize the whole concept. So it's a quick review of what we have learned in the previous parts. So the detailed explanation, if you want, of these all, you can go through the previous videos that we already learned in them. So coming to the methods, applications, and the growth, how they are the growth of the bacteria, how they are going to be expressed in. So here are the methods that we are going to discuss. That is microscopic count, electronic enumeration, then plate count, membrane filter technique, and then we are also going to have the other methods also. So let's start. The first one, microscopic count, we know very well. The main application of this one is going to be of enumeration of the bacteria in vaccines and the culture, and how the growth is going to be expressed means number of cells per ml. So we had a colony counter, Petrov-Hoffer chamber, all these things that you will use and will count the number of the cells. Then the second method is going to be the electronic enumeration. This is going to be the counter chamber. So where you are going to pass the bacterial suspension through your reserve, where they are going to count here, and they are all going to be of enumerated. So here this is also going to be used depending upon the enumeration of the bacterial vaccines and the cultures, and how the growth is going to be expressed means number of cells only. That means the microscopic count as well as the electronic enumeration both are involved in a direct microscopic counting method, mainly for the measurement of cell numbers. Okay, then moving to the third one, that is plate count. So the plate count is again useful in the enumeration of bacteria in the different samples like milk, water, food, soil, cultures, etc. And the growth is going to be expressed in colony forming units, CFU. So each colony is going to represent an individual bacteria, and this is going to be an indirect method of measurement of cell numbers. Then moving to the next one, that is membrane filter technique or method. So here the same thing, we are going to enumerate the bacteria present in the different types of aquatic samples or some sort of other samples like milk, water, food, soil, cultures, etc. And how the growth is going to be expressed means colony forming unit. So here you can see the picture, water sample is being filtered and the bacteria that was present in the water is being trapped in this nitrocellulose membrane or cellulose membrane, and that is going to be kept on a nutrient agar medium, and which will supply the nutrients to the trapped bacteria or the microorganisms. So where we can see the colonies. So that's how you are going to find. Okay, so the first two, microscopic count and the electronic enumeration, are going to come as a direct measurement of cell numbers, and the plate count and the membrane filter technique comes under the heading of indirect measurement of cell numbers or viable count of cell numbers. Is coming to the next method, that is turbidometric measurement and the dry weight determination, ATP biolumiноmetry, nitrogen determination. So these are all the different methods that are useful to measure the cell mass rather than the cell number. Okay, so let's see the first one, turbidometric measurement. So we have already learned about this one, where the spectrophotometry or the turbidometry methods are useful to estimate the number of cells in broth cultures or aqueous suspension and the growth is going to be expressed in the optical density or absorbance, even the percentage of transmission of the light. And coming to the dry weight determination, where the microorganisms are going to be of cultured and then it was filtered. The culture by centrifugation, the pellet of the bacterial culture was taken and it was dried in the oven at 1 to 10 degrees centigrade, and then it was dry weighted. And the dry weight of the cells are going to be expressed in grams per ml. Then moving to the ATP biolumimetry. So here the ATP that is going to be present in a bacterial suspension or any media or culture is going to be of directly proportional to the emerging of this photon light, which is depending upon the quantity of ATP. So that's how an enzyme complex, enzyme substrate complex called as luciferase or luciferase complex is going to be involved in the ATP bioluminescence technique. So how it is going to be occurred? So luciferin is going to be of combining with the ATP, first of all giving rise to luciferin adenylate. Now this luciferin adenylate combines with the oxygen in the presence of this luciferase enzyme, giving rise to oxyluciferin along with AMP, adenosine monophosphate, inorganic phosphate, and the photon of light. And this photon of light is going to be determined by using the biosensors, all these things. Okay, then the growth is going to be expressed in femtomoles of ATP equated to the number per cell, where 1 femton is equal to 10 to the power of minus 15 moles. So that's how the femtomoles of the ATP is going to be calculated. So we have discussed this one in the previous part, so where you can go through it. Then coming to the nitrogen determination, where we are going to weigh the, that means we are going to determine the nitrogen present in the consent taking cell culture. And after the measurement of this, we are mainly concerned with the cell mass, because the nitrogen content present is going to be directly proportional to the cell mass of that bacteria that is present in the consent culture. And the growth is going to be expressed in the amount of nitrogen per, that is mg per cell. And the last one is going to be of measurement of metabolite, that is measurement of cell activity. And the application is going to be microbiological assays. So where we can estimate the enzyme, or we can estimate the organic acids production. And the growth is going to be expressed in milliequivalents of metabolite per ml or per culture. So these were the few methods that we have discussed in detail in the previous part, and in this video we have summarized all the types of methods of what we call as microbial measurement methods. Okay, and as we discussed all these here, each method has its own particular advantages and there as well as the limitations. So as a result, no one method can be recommended universally. One has to select a method according to the requirement, and nevertheless the colony count is most widely used. So compared to all these things, the colony count is going to be the most widely used procedure for general microbiological work, and complete familiarity with this technique, both principle and practice, is essential. Okay, so as a microbiology we are going to be of having the more work in this area, and it is important to remember that the colony count is theoretically the only technique that reflects the viable population. Furthermore, it is possible that dispensaries may occur in results of growth of a bacterial population when measured by two different methods. For example, a microscopic count of a culture in the stationary phase would include all cells, isn't it? So dead cells, all the cells are going to be present, and the viable and the non-viable, so whatever it may be. Whereas the colony count would reveal only the viable population. So this is how no one method is going to be having the same thing, so which is going to be differ in their thing, because in the microscopic count we have both the cells viable and the dead cells, but in the whereas the viable count will count only the viable cells. So that is how it is going to be of differing. Okay, so this is all about the summary of different methods of microbial measurement. Thank you.